Hey, Daniel Lanier here, and I wanted to point out an interesting observation that I've just made recently. Now, this plant right here, I've had this plant for 2 years now, and I moved this plant into my bedroom, and the plant was still growing. Well, let me put it this way. The plant was still alive. It didn't look like it was growing or getting bigger or anything, but the leaves were pretty green. I still got some browns from when I moved it into my bedroom, so some of these ends have a little brown on them. But it was alive. It was in there. It wasn't dying. And recently I got a new plant shelf and I moved it out here back into the living room, and there are all types of new growth. Like, this thing is just sprouting up and it's just growing like crazy now. I took my desert rose out of the yard because we had a cold snap. Yes, in Florida, we got down in the 30s. So I put it in the garage. And it wasn't doing that good. Like, I had to cut some pieces off because the first cold snap, I didn't get it out fast enough. And I put it in there in the second cold snap, and I had to trim it down a bit, and I put it in the garage. Well, it's been sitting in the garage. So there's 2 windows in the garage, but not a lot of sunlight in the garage. And it's growing like crazy now. It was growing better in the garage than it was growing when it was sitting outside, which is crazy to me. But the observation that I'm making from this plant, which is sprouting all kind of new growth, this looks fabulous out here, is loving this new location. My desert rose is sometimes you have got to move your location. Sometimes you've got to, it could be where you have to physically pick up and go to a new location. Sometimes it could be changing your surroundings, could be your friends, could be the places you hang out at, could be your job. But there are times where you have to change your surroundings in order for you to grow and blossom. You just got to do it. If you're stagnant, this plant was sitting in my bedroom for like 1.5 years, almost 2 years, with no new growth. It was alive, just like many of us are just alive, but we're just there. We're just living. We're not getting anything out of life. We're not doing anything. We're just surviving. We're just here. I moved this plant. It is flourishing. It is growing. It is spreading out. That's what you got to do sometimes. You got to have the courage and get rid of that fear, go out of your comfort zone and go somewhere new. Sometimes you just got to get out of that environment. And I know it can be scary. Trust me, I've moved in the military. I've moved plenty of times. I've moved jobs. I've done crazy moves with jobs where I just left jobs sometimes. And I'm not saying just left and just walked out the door. You know, I did my 2 weeks, just being real with you guys. But I have left jobs because I knew that's where I wasn't flourishing at, and I had to go somewhere else. Sometimes you have got to do that. You have got to change your environment to get to where you want to go. That's just the facts of it. And sometimes it is a big move where you got to sometimes go to a whole nother state for you to really flourish and become who you are to become. So I'm telling you guys, don't fear the move. Sometimes you got to move some people out of your life, change your environment. It may not be as drastic as moving to another state, but sometimes you got to stop hanging out at the places you're hanging out. Sometimes you got to cut off some of the people that you're hanging out with and put yourself in a new environment with some new people to get the growth that you really want, the growth that is really intended for you to really act in your purpose. Sometimes you got to go somewhere else and you got to remove people. You got to change your surroundings, all those things. All right. So I want you guys to just think about that. Have the courage to get out of that comfort zone, go somewhere else, get into a new environment, get into a new place, and probably become a new, better you, where you are flourishing, you're blossoming, you're growing, you're spreading out, and you will be so surprised that, man, I'm doing it now. I'm doing it. How come I couldn't do it before? Could have just been that environment you were in. Could have been the people you were hanging out. Could have been the places you were going. Could have been the job you had. Think about that and really think about getting out, getting somewhere, changing your surroundings. Sometimes it's a drastic move, but I'm telling you guys, it might be the move for you. All right. This is Daniel Lanier. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the videos. I got more reviews, DIY, how-tos, and of course, cool motivation coming at you. I'm out. Deuces.